Hello guys and welcome back to another Sims 4 room build, and you're gonna look at me and you're gonna go, Meanders, this is not a room, this is a full barn. Yes, it is gonna go up in the gallery as a room though, because I'm gonna take the walls out because I want this to be a placeable barn for y'all on your big lots. I've seen a lot of people say like they don't know how to build a barn, or they want to have the horses but they're not really sure how to set it up. They wish they could just find something in the gallery. A couple of my friends have done that and I've been building them barns, and I've been doing it this way where I build a barn and then I take the walls out so that it's all one room, and then you just put the walls back and you've got a fully functional barn. This one is sort of kind of a little bit based off of my real life property because my horse's barn is actually an old dairy. We don't have like a traditional barn. My girls, neither of them came from a place that had a barn, so they're not used to being stalled. So I was not in need of stalls. So they have the big dairy building, which is like, I think it's 14 by 18, but that honestly feels small. It's quite big, and I padded the whole thing out, and then it's usually got bedding in it in the wintertime, and it's some really nice plush rubber mats in the summertime because it gets hot in there, which it gets hot in any barn. It's vented. It's just, when it's 113 degrees outside, it's hot everywhere. You know, it has fans and stuff, and I've put a mister system in the outdoor space, and I'm working on turning it into a bug spray mister system too. But so it gets a lot cooler in there. So a lot of times when it's 113 outside, it's only like 80 in the barn, which is nice. And I'm working on adding more misters and stuff. But the point is it's just a big space they can go hang out in. And there's actually like an indoor space with 3 entrances, 2 of which they can use, and 1 of which is what we call a people door. And then there's this big outer space that gets a lot of breeze and blow through, but like in the wintertime when it's raining, it's covered. I struggled a lot with these fences because none of them are quite right, because I have a slatted fence, but like a tall slatted fence, and then it has cutouts because I feed over the top of it into the inner space, the like covered area, not the like complete inside space. It's kind of nice because it's easy to clean out like when they leave hay or junk in there, and it leaves the inner space for them to go nap and hang out. And so it was really fun to build this because it's very similar to the way mine is laid out. Now, I put a tack room on the end of this because I like the story and the gameplay of a tack space. Like, I like the idea of it, even though it's not super like functional. My tack room is not there. If you were to go off the far side from where we're sitting right now to, like, it would be across the driveway, it would be my little tack space because it's actually just in one of the storage sheds. And where that tack space is in this build would actually be where it starts to kind of narrow into like a walkway, and it goes behind the garages, and then it goes out into their daytime pasture because on the other side of it is the irrigation ditch, which makes no sense, but just know. And then all of that is open all day long, and then on the back side where I'm putting the door in now, there's like a little walkway where I throw food and stuff, and then on the other side of that is the arena, but there's a fence from this little like corral area that I'm building to the arena, which I leave open to 90% of the time. So like of the 6 acres, like 4.5 of them, the girls have full run of 90% of the time. Nellie and Ro have full run. And like I said, in the wintertime, that little indoor space has heaters, which I didn't know how to mimic in The Sims, and I don't think it really matters. And in the summertime, it has fans and a mist system to keep it cool. Basically, it kind of functions a little bit like a swamp cooler, but not quite. And my sweet Nella came from a place that didn't have any shelter whatsoever, my sweet Nellie Belle. And so she loves hanging out in the barn. She thinks it's the greatest thing ever. Ro came from a place that had more like the intermediate shelter, like the covered area, but she's never had a stall. She could kind of care less. She's sort of not. She doesn't really care. But it's fun. I wish I had a window like that on the side. Mine doesn't. That's where I stack my hay, which isn't great. I don't love that my hay is sort of up near the barn. I'm working on a different solution. But before I like put my hay elsewhere, I want to cover it. So I'm trying to get a cover built first, which is stupid expensive for what it is. And I keep thinking to myself, I have this toxic trait. I do this all the time, and not just with buildings and stuff. I do this constantly, where I think to myself, that's really expensive, but the materials aren't. I could figure out how to do it, and like. The thing is yes. The thing is I could, right? Like, I've put up fences and stuff, so it wouldn't be that hard to put up, like, 4 posts and a ceiling. But, like, I also am, like, a full-time employed human, and, like, I have other crap going on, and I'm also, like, 5 foot, and I want this thing to be tall. And so, like, and I also have a carpenter cousin who has said he would come help, but I'm on his wait list, kind of jokingly. And he has come out to help me. Like, he just helped me put some of my office back together because the power went out, and then we had to punch a bunch of holes because It's like a 1945 farmhouse, so when the power goes out, it's almost always like an ordeal. And so then he came and patched it for me. But he said he'll help me build it, but I have to design it. I'm like, I don't know. I gotta figure it out. Where was I going with this? I don't know. But anyways, when building this one, it's a one horse situation. Because the way The Sims does it is you have to designate a bed. But realistically, you could turn this into a multi-horse situation really fast. But I just wanted something kind of simple and cute that you could plop on your property. Now, I built this like 2 or 3 weeks ago during a meeting that could have been an email. Sorry if you're watching this from work. It was a good meeting and I was listening, but like I'm a fidgeter too. Like I can't, if I just sit in a meeting, I will not get anything out of it. If I sit and do puzzles or crochet or build kind of mindlessly in The Sims like this, I get so much more out of it. And the funny thing is then like a lot of times I'll watch back this build and I'll remember what's in the meeting, and so it kind of cements it. It's almost like a study technique. I'm not telling you to play The Sims instead of studying, please. But the point I was initially going to make is I built this about 2 weeks ago, and I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm realizing I don't remember if I put food and water in here. I'm sure I did. Okay, there's the water. That makes me feel a bit better. But I'm wondering, because I bought, oh, I did put food in, thank God. I was having a small internal panic. Couldn't remember. I haven't been able to build in like a week and a half because the power's been out of my office. And it took out the computer with it, obviously. What was I going to say? Oh, I couldn't remember if I'd put food in though, because I bought wall hanging feeders when I brought the girls home and we hung them up. And both of my girls are such voracious eaters that they pulled them off the wall. I still, honest to God, don't know how. But in the course of a week, I found one out in the pasture and then I found the other out in the pasture. And I was like, how? So we took those down, and the girls enjoy eating on the ground more, and technically, physiologically, it's better for the horses to eat on the ground because they're eating in a more natural state for what they're built, because they're grazing animals. Although, having said that, I think I'm going to have to get them freaking hay nets because they eat so fast. But anyways, and they graze all day long. My girls are on daytime pasture. They just come in at night. I just lock the daytime pasture up at night because we have a lot of wild animals, which just in general, I like having the horses in a more defined place when I'm not going to be keeping an eye on them. Because of that sort of situation, obviously like weather and stuff. But the most important reason is because my daytime pasture is on the side of the farm that meets up with the public road. And obviously not everyone is always as kind, but also our road is used by people who don't want to be on the highway where the cops are. And so unfortunately we get our fair share of like drunk drivers and stuff. And I'm just always a little bit afraid someone's going to drive themselves into my pasture overnight, like on their way home from the bar. And that's actually happened once already. Not into my pasture, into my neighbor's pasture, approximately like 10 feet from my pasture. And so I'm just like, it's bad enough when they're out there and I'm like at work, and so I can't keep like a total, because I'm a helicopter parent in terms of pet parenting, right? But at night when I'm like, it just gives me peace of mind to know that they're not up by the public road, so no one can come let them out, no one can help themselves, no one's going to park in there and let my horses out through a hole, or God forbid hit a horse, you know. So it gives me peace of mind. So they have what we call the daytime pasture, because they can still go in the arena and the corral at night, and they have breakfast and dinner. They get usually alfalfa in the winter and teff in the summertime, because there are different levels of hot feed. And although we're kind of transitioning right now because it's kind of been weird weather, so they're gonna be on alfalfa here in the next bale. And then they're going to actually transition probably back to teff and then back to alfalfa, which is not great, but it's the way the buying worked out this time and the way the weather is kind of working. So anyways, but they do get breakfast and dinner. So it's not like, oh, they just don't get to eat for 12 hours. I do make sure like they have food and they're good. And like stalled horses, oh, that's cool. I'm pretty sure I pulled that out and said the same thing. They do get food, but there's a lot of not talking about the build. Yeah, then I started decorating. I put pasture grass in. I thought pasture grass would be nice because this kind of gave me like rundown farm vibes, even though that wasn't the initial goal. That's kind of how it ended up working a little bit. And so then I put this tree in there and I put it through the fence so it looked like it kind of grew around the fence. I thought that was kind of cool. Did I not keep that? Amanda, you should have kept that. That looked cool. There's just a whole barn. This is me just goofing in debug now. Apparently I didn't keep that. It would have been cool if I had kept that. Anyways. But it kind of gave me like rundown farm vibes a little bit. You wouldn't have to, but I think it was a little bit maybe like the color and stuff. So I kind of started decorating in that regard a little bit. But I really like how this turned out, and I think I'm going to end up putting it probably somewhere on one of my personal farms. And I know of at least one friend who's already using it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the walls on the rooms, and then it'll all be one big room, and then we'll post it as a room so you can just plop it on your property, however it goes. I've done this now in 2 builds because it's just a nice debug item, but please, for the love of God, don't leave your sickles, on the floor, because that's a good way to cut yourself. Please put your implements up where they are at eye level and safe. Good night. I'm putting some debug items in. There's like a sponge, and there's a horse brush, and a hoof pick. The hoof pick is giant. I keep saying, like, I should take pictures of these things and put, like, the real life things up so you can see them. I will never remember to do that. The barn is such, like, a magic place where my brain just forgets about anything. And so yeah, I would love to tell you that I'm going to put, I think I end up sizing it down, maybe I don't. It looks so giant. Mine is sparkly and pink so that people don't steal it. And not that there's anything wrong with pink, it's just not like my favorite thing. But mine is sparkly and pink because I used to ride with other people at like a show barn. And it's not even intentionally, like it's not like a thievery thing. It's like just when y'all have the same tag, right? Y'all end up using each other's stuff. Like stuff gets left out and then it gets taken. So I always tried to buy bright stuff or sparkly stuff or stuff that like was really garish and no one wanted. So and usually it's on sale too. That's the thing, is like everyone's like, no one wants that bright orange halter that you have, you know, for safety in your living room. It's a long story. And I'm like, it's so like literally like we call it the safety halter. I'm not joking, because it lives by the back door. Because the girls' halters obviously live down by where they live, so that in an emergency you can grab them. But at night, you don't necessarily want to go like rummaging through the tack space or rummaging through trying to find their halters, even though they're hung right by the door, so it's not like such a huge deal. So I just have a halter and lead rope by my kitchen door, so that I can just go blowing out, right? Works out great. Also, you can remove those and put up your own when you get this. I was just kind of styling it with the hordes. But so I have it, but part of the reason we have it is because it was on deep discount, because no one wanted it, because it is optic orange. It is optic orange, and the lead rope is like this rainbow, but it's like this pastel, but it's kind of like 1990s Beanie Baby pastel, not like cute pastel. I think it's cute. I think it's an adorable combination, but it is bold, and so nobody wanted it, so I got it on like 75% off. It's great. It's fantastic. I think I walked out with the halter and lead rope for like $10, which is kind of unheard of. Anyways, more screenshots. I'm talking about horses. I didn't talk about the build at all because I'm incapable of doing that, because now we have horses, and that's like all I want to talk about is horses. It's like freaking my entire personality. So, hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna go. Hope you're having a great day and feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you and I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here, and you make the world a better place just by being you. And you make my world a better place by being you and being here. I love your comments. I love your feedback. I love hanging out with you guys on YouTube and Instagram. And Twitter, kind of, sort of. Twitter's kind of dead. It's X now. Whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye-bye!